live. What's going on, everyone? Thank you all so much for tuning in at this time. Everybody that's here, I greatly appreciate it. Anybody watching us on the replay, thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. What do you say at this point? Right? I mean, look, Lakers they're not, I keep saying it, they're not there. Right? We need a trade. We need to get something done, hopefully sooner rather than later. Hopefully it's not something where, we're waiting until the trade deadline, but Lakers do still have to remain patient. They do have to stay the course. I don't want to see the Lakers panic trade because you can't always get worse. But again, I mean, at this point, it's kind of expected, right? Like, it's just we don't have the consistency. We don't have the guys that can come in and give the effort consistently, right? Like, it's like, oh man, they don't give the effort. They don't show, they're not playing to the level in which they could play. Maybe this is just who they are, right? Like, like it's very possible that this is just who this team is, that these are who these players are. D'Lo, non-existent. Reeves, inconsistent, right? LeBron and AD doing everything, trying to handle the workload, right? Like, look, I've said it. The only guys on this roster that should be untradeable by Lakers standards, I think reality, there's only like 3 truly untradeable players. But for Lakers standards, I think the only guys that are truly untradeable are LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Dalton Connect. Outside of that, I think everyone else should be up for sale, right? That doesn't mean that you just trade them just to trade them, right? But I do think, look, this is just going to be the norm until we actually get the pieces we need. And I've seen people be like, well, you need chemistry, you need that. Yeah, chemistry is great, but it means nothing if your chemistry doesn't lead anywhere, right? I mean, again, it's sad because it's not even a shock anymore, right? It's not even like, man, like I can't believe the Lakers are playing. Like they can't defend, they have no athleticism, and they can't consistently score. It's why, like, people are like, why do you want Zach LaVine? Because at least he'll consistently score. At least you have another guy outside of LeBron James and Anthony Davis that you can count on night in and night out, game in and game out. Then go get a Dorian Finney-Smith and a Day'Ron Sharpe, and let's go try to win a championship here. At least gives you some athleticism. Zach LaVine has been defensively, at least league average or better every year, right? He would literally be our 3rd best defensive player on the roster right now, right? Like, it's just like, what else do you do at this point, right? Like that, or you just do the whole Nets trade and you go get Dennis Schroeder, you get Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, and Day'Ron Sharpe, and you basically give them whatever they want. Hey, you want both first? Take it. You want, a pick swap? Sure, here, take it. Whatever you got to do. Whatever you got to do at this point, right? So it's frustrating. I mean, again, you look at the stats. You look at what this team did, right? Rui, 3 of 8, 1 of 4, got 1 rebound, played 23 minutes. He's 6'8", got 1 rebound, 1 assist, 7 points, right? LeBron, look, I love LeBron, but man, that guy can't stop turning the ball over. He can't. I mean, look, he's nearly getting triple doubles, doing all that stuff. The guy is, I mean, what did the commentator say earlier, that he has like 67 turnovers thus far this season? This was the 16th game. The guy's averaging like 6 turnovers a game. It's insane, right? Like, and then, you look at just Reddish, he's not giving you anything offensively, but he's there for defense purposes. But again, it's not a two-way guy. You don't have a two-way guy. Again, Reeves started off strong, cooled off, right? He ended up finishing 2 for 6, 6 of 12 from the floor. But again, it's 2 games in a row. First half, great. Second half, non-existent, right? That's why I keep saying he's inconsistent. He's inconsistent. It's just the reality. That's what he is. He's inconsistent. D'Lo, 1 of 6, 5 of 13, right? Like, yeah, he had 16, but on terrible efficiency. It took him 13 shots to get there. Dalton Connect, they just act like he's not on the court at times. Right? He's a rhythm guy. And yeah, he got 7 shots, 4 threes, but it's just like there's no rhythm, right? Like the guy hits a 3, and then like instead of trying to work him into the end of the offense, it's like, okay, let's just go completely away from him. All right, it's just you go to the bench, like, who else do you got? All right, like, can't count on Gabe. Max Christie, for limited minutes, okay, sure, he had, a couple nice defensive sequences. He hit a shot, but, he's not, like, it's just, again, what do you say at this point? The team is what the team is, Team is, they're just inconsistent. That's the problem. And they don't have the skill sets needed to compete with the top teams. Right? They don't have the athleticism out on the perimeter. They don't have the athletes that can consistently defend and put in the effort. Like, keep saying, oh man, like, this team just doesn't show up with the effort. Just 2 years in a row that we've had this problem. Maybe it's not an effort problem. Maybe it's just the lack of talent, right? The lack of athleticism. They just don't have the athleticism to night in and night out give you everything you need. Unless, like, Austin Reeves, unless he's shooting the lights out, he's unplayable at times. D'Lo, unless he's shooting the lights out, is unplayable at times. All right, like Cam Reddish. I love Cam Reddish. I think Cam Reddish is still great. I would love to keep Cam Reddish. Right? Like, I think he's a guy, he's still 25, but he's not a two-way guy. Right? He's not a guy that you can count on to defend at a high level and knock down and give you 13. It's just, again, what do you say at this point? Right? What do you say? But anyway, let's get into the chat here. Real quick, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and yeah, let's go. Here we go. The Lakers have absolutely no heart or soul. We love to lose and enjoy it. Lakers are literally a clown show. I miss Dr. Buss, who actually wanted to win and cared about the team and its fans. I knew as soon as we lost to the Magic, I knew we were going to do this. At least we have the Dodgers who, have an owner that wants to win, adding Blake Snell. Yeah, I just did a video on As It Stands Sports. It should have just posted. I had it scheduled for 9:30. Yeah, just posted. Over on As It Stands Sports, diving into Blake Snell being signed to the Dodgers. Yeah, I mean, look, at least one LA team wants to win, right? At least one LA team is doing what they can. But it's just, I mean, I think the Lakers will probably win a title again. But it's just, it's frustrating. I get it. And again, I think, and this is why I talked about, right? People kept saying it's one game in the Orlando game. And it's like, it's not just one game, right? It's a game that you should have won. And we're in the Western Conference, right? We were 7-4 or 10-4, and now we're 10-7, right? Like, things come quick. If you would have won that Orlando game like you were supposed to, at least you're 11-6, right? That's a big difference. Big difference, right? Now you're still in the hunt for a top seed. What are the Lakers now as far as seeding goes? I mean, they were only like a game and a half from like out of the play-in. They are the 6th seed right now, but they are tied for 7th with the Clippers and half a game out of 10. If they lose to the Spurs tomorrow, they would be the 10th seed. Right? And we were just the 3 seed, only half a game out of the 1 seed, literally 3 games ago. It's not just one game. Things change and happen quickly. Especially in the Western Conference. There wasn't even trying. Is it that, or is it just we're just not good enough, right? Like, at what point do you just come to the realization that it's just like, hey, this team just, it's not that they don't try, it's not that they're not showing up, it's just that they don't have the tools necessary to deliver on a nightly basis, right? They don't have the athleticism, they don't have the foot speed, they don't have the condition, they don't have the things that you can count on. That, when the offense isn't falling and things are struggling, well, it's like if you have a bunch of athletes out there, you can still, generate through fast breaks or, lock down defensively, bring intensity, right? Like you can kind of tap into that reserve there. But when you don't have that and the shots aren't falling, this is the result. It's what you get. This and the Denver game and all that. If only we had the 2020 team. If only. If only. I'm not mad because I'm not surprised yet. I mean, at this point, it shouldn't be a surprise. It's sad. At this point, it's almost expected. Like I said, if I ever see Pelinka, I'm taking one for the team. At this point, no trade in the entire league will help us win the season. I already lost I'm counting the days till the offseason, where hopefully Rob is fired, but unlikely. I don't believe the Lakers season's over yet. Again, you make the right trades, things can change. I mean, look, we were in this boat 2 seasons ago. We were 2-10, and we had 0.05% chance or whatever it was to just making the playoffs or making the play-in, let alone the playoffs. You make a couple trades, all of a sudden you look up and we're in the conference finals, right? Like, don't underestimate the value of a trade or two to really turn things around, but you have to do it, right? And you have to do it before it's not too late. Again, I want the Lakers to remain patient. I don't think you panic trade, but it's hard when you don't. Sell the team. I'm done with Pelinka. Horrible. I swear, as it stands, you find ways to do trades better than Rob Pelinka. It's easy to, if we're being honest, right? Like, it's easy to just analyze and go, oh, well, Lakers should do this, 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 and this. But we always have to keep in mind other teams have to be willing to do that. They have to be willing to do it for the price in which makes sense for you. Like, there's a lot of factors that go into it. It's easy to be like, oh, trade, go get Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Day'Ron Sharpe, and Dennis Schroeder for both firsts, right? But if they want 2 firsts just for Cam Johnson, well, you can't do it. If they want a first for Dennis Schroeder, like, if they want 5 firsts for all those guys, you can't do it. It's easy to say, like, oh, go do that for 2 firsts. Another thing, we don't know what's going on, behind closed doors. We're not in those conversations. We don't know, like, again, Portland wants 2 firsts for Jeremy Grant. Even Portland insiders are like, dude, just give him to the Lakers. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, Portland fans are like screaming at Portland because they want 2 firsts and they haven't budged, right? Like, again, it's up to the other team. And you got to keep in mind, no team wants to be the team that makes the Lakers a contender, right? Like, what team wants to make that trade and then the Lakers win the championship and now everyone's looking at them like, you did this, right? Like, they need to be able to justify it. Like, yeah, look, we traded them and they won a championship, but we got like 5 firsts in the deal. Like, we fleeced them, right? Like, it's kind of the problem. Dorian Prince coming to save his baby mama. I love it. Darvin Ham has never lost a game in the NCAA. I know Lakers never lost a game until today. Lakers went cold. Can't stop the Suns in the second half. Seems to be a consistent problem, though. That's the problem. Let's see. Ham had a better roster and healthy team for the in-season tournament, and the Lakers were actively trying to win that. Like I said, I don't think the Lakers are actively trying to win it this year. I think if they can, they will, but I don't think they're actively trying to win it. Lakers defense is terrible. We need to keep losing so we can get a draft pick. We don't have a draft pick. The Utah Jazz have our draft pick this year. So, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. I would love, hey, go get Cooper Flag, but it unfortunately doesn't work. Just trade everyone at this point. I'm not completely against it. I don't think Anthony Davis's number 1 option is a joke. I just think, any number 1 option, if teams can crowd the paint and just focus on him and don't have to worry about anyone else, right? Giannis, was scoring 50 and Milwaukee was still losing, right? Like, number 1 option can only take you so far. I don't care who it is, right? Like, you need other guys to show up. It's a 5-man game. It's not 1-on-5. Right? If Anthony Davis is, giving you 125 points, like, that's one thing. But as stands, looking back in time, do you think the Lakers should have done the Buddy Hield and Miles Turner trade? Yes. I thought that they should have done it back then. I think Jeannie was foolish for vetoing that. I wasn't happy about it. I know many fans weren't happy about it. But, I thought Rob did a good job rebounding, and then even at the time. But it still would have fixed several needs, right? It would have given you a legit shooter on top of giving you that big man, giving you that center. You fast forward right now, what do the Lakers look like with Buddy Hield and Miles Turner? do the Lakers beat Denver with Buddy Hield and Miles Turner? All right, like something else, right? Because now you have Miles Turner to defend Jokic alongside Anthony Davis, right? Do they win their championship, or are we playing Miami in that finals? And if we play Miami, we're beating Miami, especially Anthony Davis, Miles Turner, right? So a lot of revisionist history. But yeah. They got us booked Stizzy tonight. I feel it. Rob, are you comfortable? I hope not. I hope not. What's going on, Jason? Came in to throw insult into the wound. I see, buddy. Don't worry. Lakers will be back. Lakers are going to pull off some trades, and then Boston's going to get eliminated, and then enjoy your chip while you had it. Rob deserves firing. We fans need to boycott ASAP. Got to keep in mind, how much is Rob allowed to do? Right? Like, Rob is just the scapegoat. I've talked about this before. I mean, talking about, like Adam said, right? It was like, hey, like, would I go back and trade for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner? Yeah. Who vetoed that trade? Why didn't that trade get finalized? Jeannie Buss, right? Like, Jeannie Buss refuses to trade Austin Reeves, right? Like, again, Rob, but like, people always talk about, oh, fire Rob. Okay, and replace him with who? Right? Like, oh, Bob Myers. Why in the world would Bob Myers, like, honestly, why in the world would Bob Myers want to come to the Lakers to be told how to do his job by the Rambis family and Jeannie Buss? Right? Like, why is Rob perfect? Why is Rob not on the hot seat? Why is Rob, not have to worry about nothing? Because Jeannie, like, if you're going to fire Rob, you're going to have to fire Jeannie, right? Like, because they're the ones that are making the decisions, right? Like, even that report came out the other day about the Russell Westbrook thing, and everyone's pointing fingers at each other, right? And it was like, well, Jeannie's the one that greenlit it, like, right? Like, Jeannie was the one that said, go do it, make it happen, right? Like, people are like, why is Rob absolved of that? Because it wasn't his decision. There literally was a report the other day that came out, like 2 days ago, talking about it, where the Jeannie Buss and the owners, they signed off. They were the ones that said to go do it, right? So many people are like, oh, Rob this, Rob that, Rob this, Rob that. Like, again, I'm not saying you have to keep Rob. I'm not saying Rob is perfect. He hasn't been perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But we don't even know, like, how much of it is actually Rob and how much of it is Jeannie, right? We've had several trades go down, right, where it was all Jeannie. It had nothing to do with Rob. Like, Rob was in a completely different place. So even if you fire Rob, who are you replacing him with? No respected GM is coming to the Lakers to be told how to do their job. There is not a single respected GM that's going to go, oh, let me go to the Lakers where Jeannie Buss can tell me whether I can or cannot do something. Like, which organization, when do you ever hear an organization and the owner vetoing a trade? We've had Jeannie veto like 3 in the last 5 years, right? Like, organizations hire people and trust them to do the job. If you don't believe Rob can do the job, fire him, get rid of him, and bring in somebody you do. If you do believe Rob can do the job, then get out of the way and let him do it. And then if he messes up, then you can go, okay, we need to fire him, right? Like, that's usually how it works. It usually goes, this guy is good enough until he isn't, and then we fire him, and then you bring in somebody else that you don't. It's not, oh, we're going to bring this guy just to basically be the guy that the fans yell at. That's basically what he is. He's just the guy that the fans yell at. It's the organization. It's Jeannie Buss that is the one that makes the decisions. I'm right there with you. I don't know about a rebuild. I don't think we're far, but we definitely need some trades. Never give up. I'll never give up on Lakers. I'm always going to stick by the Lakers. Honestly, I'm sick and tired of this team. The amount of open threes is absurd. Trades need to happen by January. Lakers need guys that are willing to play defense and give an effort. Cough, cough, deal. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Lack of effort when Vin went on spurts without a bucket. This team gets tougher and tougher to watch, for real. Yeah, they do. I mean, again, like I mentioned earlier, how much of it is just the lack of effort, or how much of it is just like they're just not good enough? Like, again, this has been a problem for a year and a half now, and it's like, okay, like, is it really effort, or is it just like they they aren't good enough. They just don't have the consistency. They don't have the athleticism. They don't have the defense. They don't have the things needed to be good enough, right? At least on a nightly basis. That's the thing. So I feel it. I'm right there with you. I don't lose on Christmas Day as well. Very, very, very possible. Is Gabe even NBA ready? He hasn't looked like it. He is statistically the worst player in the NBA right now, based on like 100, for players that have played like 100 minutes. I'm right there with you. I feel it. Again, Rob didn't do this. Jeannie did it, right? Like, again, Rob never had intentions to go. Like, I responded to a comment. I wish I had it. I wish I could like pull it up on screen, but I'm not going to spend 20 minutes. Like, because a lot of people, I think, forget how the Russell Westbrook thing happened. And again, you can look this up. Like, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook went to Anthony Davis's house and said, we are going to figure this out and work it out. Like, the three of them came to the conclusion and realization. They then went to Jeannie and said, trade for Russell Westbrook. Russ wants to come, and we'll figure out whatever we have to figure out in order to make it work. Rob Pelinka never had intentions of trading Russell Westbrook. He wasn't even looking at Russell Westbrook. He was busy working out deals with the Sacramento Kings to try to go get Buddy Hield. And then there was the talks of, DeMar, and then that fell through, but there were still conversations going on of like, maybe they can make it work, right? And then he was looking at several other guys, and then Jeannie said, go trade for Russell Westbrook. So then he trades for Russell Westbrook. Then it doesn't work, and it's a disaster. So what does Rob do? He pulls off a trade for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner for Russell Westbrook. And all of us were like, let's go. Got a center, got a legit three-point shooter, the two things we need more than anything right now, right? You can fill out the rest of the pieces. You figure it out, right? You get those guys, because that was like in the offseason. So you still could have filled out the rest of the roster. And then what happened? Jeannie comes in and goes, nah, I want to wait and see what Darvin Ham can do with Russell Westbrook. We all knew that it wasn't going to work. But Jeannie was like, no, vetoed it. All right. So then what does Rob do? He waits until Jeannie goes, okay, fine, you can trade Russell Westbrook. And then he does literally the impossible. They said it was impossible. Like, kid, I'm old enough to remember. I have the receipts saved, all of that, where they said it was impossible for the Lakers to trade Russell Westbrook for value. That they would have to trade both first just to get off of his contract. And he traded one protected first for D'Angelo Russell, Jared Vanderbilt, and Malik Beasley, which at the time seemed like gold. And then we got to the conference finals, right? Like, again, it's just Rob didn't do this to the team. Jeannie did this to the team. And then trying to appease LeBron and AD instead of going like, hey, this probably doesn't work. Or, hey, Rob, what do you think? Right? Like, again, like, context matters. Context matters. Context is important. Again, I'm not saying Rob is like the greatest GM ever, and he shouldn't be accounted for anything, right? He definitely has faults in it, but Jeannie has been our biggest enemy, right? It's always your own, right? The ops is always your own. It's always your own people. Yeah, I feel it. I expect this. Yeah, seriously. Let's see. That was absolutely brutal. JJ Redick is not overrated. Again, you have to have the talent. JJ Redick has been very good. Has he had his miscues here and there? Sure. But he is definitely not overrated. Let's see. If we trade AD, can we go the Thunder way? If you were to, they're not going to trade AD for one. But I have said if you were ever going to trade AD, I think the Thunder make the most sense. If you're going to tear it down, I think the true trade you make is LeBron to the Warriors, and you go get Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and then like Andrew Wiggins because you need salary. Like you have to match salary. And then I think you go and trade AD to the Thunder, and you go get like Jalen Williams, and then like Carson, and then can you get like a Dort or something like that? That's what I would do. Right, because now you basically you'd also get picks and stuff too. But I'm talking about like young core, right? So now you have like Dalton Connect, Jalen Williams, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and then bunch of firsts, right? Get Carson, get Dort, and boom, now you got that. If you were going to do it, like that's the route that I would go. That's the route that I would if you were going to trade Anthony Davis. Let's see. Fool's gold not being fooled again with this Lakers team. No, sir. Yes. That's I said the same thing earlier. 6'8" got 1 rebound earlier. We need to whatever. We need to go and pull the trigger for Zach and a center. D'Lo by Reeves up and down. Rui inconsistent. I've been screaming Zach LaVine from the top of my lungs. So I'm right there with you. Knowing they had weaknesses from the get-go. Yeah, I mean, again, how much of it is just like the trades aren't there, right? Everybody that's available for trade right now are all the same players that were available for trade last trade deadline. Literally all of them. There have not been like any surprises of like, oh, like all the Nets guys were available for trade at the trade deadline. Jeremy Grant was available for trade at the trade deadline. Literally everybody that is available right now for trade were all available for trades at the trade deadline, and no one's gotten any of them. Like none of these guys have been moved. The only guy that got moved was DeJounte Murray. That was it. Like outside of that, no one else got moved. Why? Because all these teams have like insane asking prices right now. That's the problem, right? Like 2 firsts for Cam Johnson isn't going to cut it. 2 firsts for Jeremy Grant just isn't going to cut it, right? If we were just like a Cam Johnson away from being a contender, then sure, whatever you pull the trigger, you get it done. But it's just like, give up both firsts for Cam Johnson. Like, yeah, you're slightly better, but you're still having a lot of the same problems. Like Lakers need 2 or 3 guys. Let's see. I don't know how much of Reeves being untradeable is Pelinka or Genie, right? Because there were reports that Rob Pelinka originally included Austin Reeves in the Kyrie deal, and then Genie said, no, you can't trade it. So, again, that's the problem. We don't know. Now, we don't know for a fact. Like, we don't know how much Genie is, like, pulling the strings, right? Would you say Jalen Schifino, Vincent, in 2 seconds, is an underpay for Dorian Finney-Smith? I mean, depends on how much they like Jalen Hood-Schifino. Probably looking at like 3 seconds. Probably looking at like a Rui type of deal, right? Where we traded Rui, or when we traded for Rui, right? It was like 4 seconds. Probably something like that for Dorian Finney-Smith because he is having a good year. He's not worth a first. They've been trying to get a first for Dorian Finney-Smith. I mean, Dallas was trying to get a first for Dorian Finney-Smith years ago, right? Like they've been trying to trade Dorian Finney-Smith for a first for like years now, and no one's bought, right? Because he's not worth first. He's a good role player. He is one of the better 3-and-D role players, but he's not like the top tier level, right? Like him by himself doesn't like him by himself changes a lot for the Lakers, but not enough to where like we're contender status, right? You need Dorian Finney-Smith and a couple other things. So you're probably looking at like that and then like 3 seconds, probably 3, maybe 4 seconds. So we'll see. Ever since Westside has been taken out of the starting lineup, they've been losing blame JJ. Bench Rui. I am not against that at all. They can't hit threes. Let's go big like 2020. I am with you. Start connect. The Orlando game was the start of the downfall. It's been a downward from there. I said it. I tried to tell people it's not just one game. Everyone tried to tell me, oh, you're overreacting. You're this, you're that, and the other. Again, we've seen this story. We've seen this script. Like we were all in the chat. People were telling me I'm, being dramatic and all that. And now look. There's not just one game, right? Like it matters, especially in the Western Conference. Dude, literally, if we lose to the Spurs tomorrow, we're the 10th seed. You can't have 2 bigs who can't space the floor. Jesus Christ, yeah. We just don't have the proper bigs. We don't. And then also you're having LeBron play the 3. Like, that's not probably a great decision either. Let's see. Max, Gabe, Rui, D'Lo, non-existent. Yeah. Got a lot of inconsistent guys. Braun is averaging like 5 turnovers, way too much. Yeah. I don't know why this guy can't take care of the basketball. His decision-making this season has been awful. Awful. Let's see. Guys play like that. We bench connect and we lose 3 straight. Yeah. I thought JJ was a basketball savant. He has been outcoached in the second half of the last 3 games. You also need your players to show up. Right? I don't care. I even defended Darvin Ham last year saying this exact same stuff. So this isn't like, oh, Tyler's just defending JJ. No, I said the exact same stuff. Again, it's on video. Same things I was saying that I'm about to say right now. I said in defense of Darvin Ham. If the players don't show up, I don't care how good of a coach you are. You could have prime Phil Jackson and prime Pat Riley do the fusion dance and fuse into the perfect head coach. And this team still is going to do what we just saw, right? Like they don't have the talent, right? Like, again, I said a lot of the same stuff for Darvin Ham last season. I don't care how good of a coach you are. I don't care how good of a savant you are. I don't care about any of that stuff, right? JJ Redick has shown he's a good coach. Has he made mistakes? Absolutely. Is he perfect? No, absolutely not. He's definitely still learning. But I don't care how good JJ is. JJ could be clearly the best coach in the NBA right now. And if the players don't show up, he's not responsible for LeBron turning the ball over every possession or every other possession. He's not responsible for Austin Reeves just no-showing every other game or every other half. He's not responsible for guys just not showing up with effort and not chasing down loose balls. He's not responsible for guys not giving up the defensive effort. He's not responsible for D'Lo not having athleticism and being able to defend. He's not responsible. Like, again, there's only so much a coach can manage. There's only so much that a coach can account for. You can only micromanage so much. Eventually, you need the players to show up. And we just don't have the guys to do that on a nightly basis. Right, Rob's getting paid to do nothing. Again, I want him to be patient. Look, and this is the problem we don't know, if right now you could go get Dorian Finney-Smith for like 3 seconds and Rob's just sitting on his hands doing nothing, then yes, Rob is being foolish, right? But we don't know that, which is the problem, right? Like, because for as far as we know, they want a first for Dorian Finney-Smith. He's not worth a first. And even if he is worth a first, the Lakers can't trade a first for him because they need more than just Dorian Finney-Smith, right? So, like, my thing is just like, I wish we knew the conversation. I wish we knew what was going on. Because is Rob really just sitting on his thumbs? Or is he active and try? Because all we keep hearing are reports that he's being diligent, that he's being active, that he's in negotiations to try to go get Dorian Finney-Smith, and he's in negotiations to try to go get Walker Kessler and do all these things. Like, he was in negotiations with the Blazers for Jeremy Grant, right? Like, okay, but again, like, trades have to go 2 ways, right? So, like, if the deal's not there, I don't want him to take it. Because you can always get worse. Or you can end up being kind of like, let's say you're slightly better, but you're stuck, right? Like, that's a problem too, right? Like, let's say the Lakers trade both first for, let's say, Cam Johnson and Day'Ron Sharpe, just those 2. Lakers are better, right? But are they contender better? Probably not. But now you're stuck because now you have no picks for like a while, right? Like you're stuck, right? So I would rather the Lakers not be stuck. Again, maybe Rob is sitting on his thumbs. I don't know, right? He maybe just be doing nothing. I hope that's not the case. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and just hope that he's trying to get something done and the asking prices are there. Problem is the Lakers aren't in a position to overpay. If we were like OKC and had 50 first-round picks, then sure, it's like, dude, just give up the first for Dorian Finney-Smith and let's go try to win a championship, right? Like, it depends on, we don't know what's going on behind the closed doors is the point. David, coming out the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Hard to see this year after year. Role players are just not good enough. How often an undrafted player becomes a legit star? We can have LaVine anytime. Look, I mean, obviously, David. So do everyone else. I am big on LaVine. I have said I think you need to be patient, 20, 30 games just to, make sure he's healthy, make sure he's good. Problem is they might not have that long, right? Like, they might not have 20, 30 games to figure this out, right? Like, I mean, you could get LaVine right now for just like a salary match. They just want to get off of LaVine. And, you know, my argument has been, you know, like, be patient waiting for LaVine, because, again, it is a big commitment. It is something that you want to make sure, right? And then on top of that, like, he's not going anywhere, right? Like, no teams are trading for LaVine. Like, because all the good teams already have a guy like LaVine. All the bad teams he's not going to want to go to, and it wouldn't make sense for them to trade for him anyway. And then, you know, all the middle of the pack teams, right? Like, what's the point, right? Like, he's not making you a contender, right? So there's like the only teams that LaVine really makes sense for is like Miami and the Lakers. That's like the two teams that like really could use a guy like him. But Miami, I just don't see trading for him. And the Lakers, I do think should trade for him. But again, like, at this point, you're almost better off just going and getting him and then figuring it out from there, because you're not going to have to give up your picks. And if the reports are true and they're willing to give Io in the deal, then I think you get him too. And then you save your first, right? Or like, let's say they want like 2 seconds or something like that, whatever, right? Then sure, do that, whatever you got to do. I just, at this point, it's almost like you're better off just not waiting around. Like, just go get him, and then you can still go do, like, Rob's in conversations based on reports that came out today. I did a video on it, right? Rob is in conversations to like try to acquire Dorian Finney-Smith. You can still do that if you go and trade for LaVine. Like, you can literally get Zach LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith, and then like a Day'Ron Sharpe or a Walker Kessler or whatever, right? Like, you can literally go get 3 guys, right? Like, and boom, bolster this roster and like, let's go. So to me, it's just like, at this point, you're almost better off just doing it. But as far as like, yeah, the role players just not being good, they're just not. They're just not. They're not. And, you know, drafting a star, like a legit star, as like a undrafted guy, because that's what I'm assuming you meant, like an undrafted player become a legit star. Like, legit star? I don't think there has been one. I mean, there's been, I mean, is Draymond a star, right? Like, or Draymond wasn't drafted, but, you know, like late second round. It's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, undrafted guys, like, I don't think that there's ever been one that was a star. There have been a handful that have been really good, but like a legit star, yeah, I don't think that's happened. But I appreciate you. Thank you. Seriously. Thank you so much, David, for the super chat. Sorry, trying to find something to me. D'Lo taking shots at D'Lo's the only one that actively tries to get the ball to Dalton. You even saw it in this game, right? Like, I don't know where you got like D'Lo taking shots away from Dalton. Like, D'Lo's the only, like, and I showed this in the last stream. Or do I still have it saved? Like, actually, I might still have it saved. Literally, like, just to this. Oh yeah, this is it. Here we go. Like, literally, to just like further hit on that, like, D'Lo actively tries to get him the ball. Dalton Connect and D'Angelo Russell. I don't know if this is still the case because this was like 3 days ago, but as of like 3 days ago, Dalton Connect and D'Angelo Russell were the best duo in the NBA per 100 minutes. Best offensive rating among duos this season, minimum 100 minutes. It was Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, and then Dalton Connect and D'Angelo Russell. Why? Because D'Angelo Russell is the only one that actively tries to get him the basketball. Again, that doesn't mean that you don't trade D'Lo or anything like that. That doesn't mean that you don't like make the move, like you don't trade him. But to say that like, oh, he's the only one that's actively trying to get him. Don't you dare mention Zach LaVine. Tell me I'm wrong at this point, right? Like, again, more and more people are starting to come around to Zach LaVine. But they'd rather try to score for themselves, end up turning the ball over. He's like an afterthought. He's an afterthought. Zach LaVine might as well stay where he is. I disagree. Let's see. Please get Dorian Finney-Smith, Dennis Schroeder, and Day'Ron Sharpe. I'm not against that at all. If you can pull off some huge Nets trade, then pull off some huge Nets trade. I am with it. Let's see. let a team fleece us at this point. Just make a move. You have to see. I disagree. Like, I understand, like, because the problem is that happens. Like, are you gonna be like, hey, at least we did a trade? No, you're gonna be like, what is Rob doing? He's trash. Get rid of him, right? Like that's the problem. Like, I would rather just kind of go through this and find the right trade, and then we get the right trade done, and then if it works, we're like, yes, then make a trade, and it's just like, oh, we got fleeced, and now we're stuck. All right, like that's the problem is the Lakers getting stuck. You don't want the Lakers to get stuck. Stakes coming out $2 super chat. Rui looks out of place because he is. He is. I mean, again, he's a 4 masquerading as a 3. It's the reality. He's not. He's a guy that's doing his best to play the 3, but he's not a 3. He's a 4. He doesn't have the lateral quickness. He doesn't have the foot speed. He doesn't have the things needed to properly slot into that position. Problem is as long as LeBron's on this team, he's never going to get to play the 3. He's always going to have to play or play the 4. Sorry, he's never going to get to active. He's going to always have to be the 3. That's where the problems lie. You need to. You got to move him. You do. I mean, again, I like Rui a lot. I'm a big Rui guy, but the reality is that you need to move, right? As much as I like Rui, I like the Lakers winning a lot more, and I think he's the guy that can potentially get you a piece, especially a team like the Nets. Like he kind of makes sense for them, so maybe. It also depends on like what the Nets want to do. Do you think Rob has it out for Braun so he don't catch Kobe? His free agent this year was not serious. No, that doesn't make any sense. I don't see that being the case at all. Because I mean, if that was the case, then when they won the championship, he wouldn't have upgraded. Like the Lakers probably go back to back if Anthony Davis doesn't get hurt. Like if AD doesn't get hurt, we beat Phoenix and we're in the finals, right? Like, and then I think we matched up way better against Milwaukee than they did, right? And then again, like he had no interest. LeBron James is the one that wanted Russell Westbrook. Again, like look it up. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook went to Anthony Davis's house and hung out and talked about how they wanted to team up together and how bad Russell Westbrook wanted to bring another championship to LA and win at home. Because that's something, right? And so LeBron James is the one that said, go get Russell Westbrook. And he said, I'd play more off ball, do whatever I have to do. And none of that happened. Like none of it happened, right? So if that was the case, again, like if Rob didn't want that, then he probably wouldn't even be trying to make sure. He wouldn't have done like anything, right? Like, bare minimum, at least keep Cam or Max on the floor. Rui is way too nice. JG needs to acknowledge that Dalton is our third best scorer. I mean, he's kind of looked that way. I still think when Reeves is on, as critical as I've been of Reeves, Reeves is still our third best player. He's just not your third best player, right? Like he's not supposed to be at least. Let's see. LeBron got to show up when nobody else is helping AD. Like, come on, man. The Suns, I feel it. Let's see. Rob is sabotaging LeBron. Rob doesn't need to sabotage LeBron. LeBron sabotaged LeBron. Again, LeBron wanted Russell Westbrook. That's not my opinion. It's a literal fact. Again, you can look it up, right? Like LeBron wanted Russell Westbrook. LeBron sabotaged LeBron. That's the reality. Rob Pelinka didn't need to sabotage LeBron. LeBron did it to himself. Because in LeBron's defense, he made it work every other time, right? Like people said he would never make it work with Dwayne Wade. Their skill sets don't work, right? Like that he needs shooting, he needs all this, and they were able to make it work. So LeBron James probably looked at it and went like, if I was able to make it work with Dwayne Wade, I can make it work with Russell Westbrook. But it wasn't. LeBron James was just a different version of himself for one. And then Russell Westbrook was not the same, right? Russell Westbrook had a real decline. We ain't got time to wait until December 15th. We need to do something. something done now. But you got to keep in mind, it's a two-way street. Like, I would love if Rob Pelinka could pick up the phone and be like, hey, you're going to give us Dennis Schroeder, Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, and Day'Ron Sharpe for 2 firsts, Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, Gabe Vincent, and whatever, Jalen Hood-Schifino. I don't know if the numbers match up perfectly, but you get my point, right? Like, maybe Jared Vanderbilt too. I think you have to do like Jared Vanderbilt too. So we'll do that and then just hang up and the deal's done. Doesn't work like that, right? It doesn't. As much as I want it to work that way, as much as I know many of you want it to work that way, it doesn't work that way, right? Like, Rob Pelinka could be like, hey, I'll give you both firsts for Cam Johnson. If they're like, no, we want 3 firsts. Like, we don't have 3 firsts, so I can't give you 3 firsts for it. Well, sorry, I guess you can't. Like, trades have to work both ways. Both sides have to agree to a trade. So it's not as simple. Like, we all want that, but the Lakers were trash. I mean, it's that simple. Lakers got ran through. Third quarter problems again. I mean, what's his name? Why am I blanking on his name? Nurkic. There we go. He just took over in the third, and then KD and everything. It was a mess. Marcus Smart and Kessler 3-team trade. Honestly, I'm not a fan of Marcus Smart. I loved Marcus Smart coming out of Oklahoma State, and I actually wanted the Lakers to draft Marcus Smart over Julius Randle. Like, those were my 2 guys. Like, if you couldn't get Marcus Smart, then fine, go get Julius Randle. And they ended up taking Boston ended up taking Marcus Smart, and I was like, damn, I really wanted him. But at this point, no, he's not the same guy he once was. His shot, like, you think D'Lo and Reeves in their shot selection is bad. Man, go watch Marcus Smart's shots. Marcus Smart takes shots like he's a superstar, or he's like this super efficient 3-point shooter. Like, I've watched enough Boston games to see him just completely blow a game for them, right? Like, they have the game won in control, and then Marcus Smart just started getting shot happy, and next thing you know, it's like, so yeah. Personally, welcome to the dark side. As it stands, I've been saying that team, it's the GM, make a trade. Had some problems 2.5 years in a row. Yeah, got to get something done. Let's see. AD can't do it all. I'm a LeBron James fan too. Yeah, LeBron's gonna stop turning the ball over, man. Seriously, I don't know why he has this like habit so bad. Exactly, we're not athletic enough. Lakers they're not. Let's see. So trying to find something to me. Yeah, you're basically stuck till December 15th for the most part. Where's the excuses? There's no excuse. Lakers were bad. Not every loss needs an excuse. I mean, literally the last 3 losses, I've said the Lakers have just been bad. AR and D'Lo give up more than they score. Shaking my head. Stakes. First off, thanks so much for super chat. Really do appreciate it. Secondly, yes, you're right. I mean, they do. Like, I've said it. Unless AR and D'Lo are lights out, they're a negative out there, right? Like, because AR is basically our sole point of attack guy, and he's not a point of attack guy. He doesn't have the athleticism. He doesn't have the defensive skills, right? Like, if he's defending like your third best guy, then sure, you get away with that. But him having to defend the best player on the other team, he's just getting rammed through. Teams are switching on him regularly. Like, it's just not good. And then D'Lo's literally been a shell of his former self. I was hopeful that he would kind of figure it out and turn it around, because he did the same thing last year. Like, through the first like 15, 20 games, I don't know if you guys remember, but D'Lo was like 31% from 3-point range through like the first 15, 20 games. Remember, Darvin Ham was benching him and all that stuff, right? And then he just like had that game. I don't remember who it was against. It might have been, was it the next game? It might have been the previous year, and I'm just misremembering. But he had a game against somebody, and he had like 27, something like that. And then it was just like, boom, he just got back in order. So I was hopeful that that was coming and that would happen sooner rather than later. But so far, it just hasn't happened. And that's a problem. And when they aren't scoring, right, like at least consistently, then they become a net negative. They're literally just in the way. So I'm right there with you, but I appreciate you. Thanks so much. Let's see what else. This team gets exhausted the same fashion as the 2022 team. Yeah. We cannot close out games. Actually, Lakers have been really good closing out games this year. It's the third quarter. Lakers can't. Second halves have been bad. I think they're in their own head. It all started with that last second loss to Orlando. Yeah, I mean it's possible, but also we've seen this, right? Like Lakers started 3-0, then they lost one, and then they won one, and then they lost 3 straight, and then they were 4-4, and then they went on a 6-game win streak, and now they're on a 3-game losing streak. It might just be who they are. They're just an inconsistent team, right? Like they'll win 3 or 4 games in a row, and then they'll lose 3 or 4 games in a row. All right. LeBron needs to be a Swiss Army knife third option. He isn't a good enough second option anymore. At least on the scoring end yet. Yes, Dodgers signing Blake Snell. Yes, I did a video on As It Stands Sports about the Blake Snell acquisition. So I posted that. I don't know how well it's going to do because I don't really post baseball on that channel. But I was like, let me see if it works here. Also, if you're not subscribed to that channel, you should go subscribe to that channel. Here, let me put a little link in the thing. Boom. So that is my sports chat, like where I talk about all the other teams in the Lakers. Actually, if it wasn't for that channel, I wouldn't have this channel. So I don't know how that baseball channel or that baseball video is going to do because I don't really talk baseball on that channel very much. But I was like, let me try. But usually I talk basketball, NBA, talk about all the other teams and stuff. So yeah, go subscribe to that channel. That'd be awesome. What am I at on that channel? I know I'm like close to another milestone on the channel. Oh no, I just hit 7,400. So yeah, go subscribe to that channel. Yeah. So anyway, click that link and subscribe. And then you can hear me talk about other teams, other things going on in the NBA. Cooper Flag just lost another game. Came out flat in the second half. Again, is a joke. Yeah, Lakers, tale of two halves. I mean, this was the same problem last year. Tale of two halves. Miles and Buddy was perfect, yeah. And Jeannie decided to veto that. When it rains, it pours. I'm worried about Jackson might have injured his Achilles. Yeah. Ever since those missed free throws, the bad karma hasn't stopped. The gods keep picking on us, man, but we need to make a move. Yeah, we got to get something done. You got to get some move, some trade, something. Something's got to be done. But yeah, it's just, dude, we cannot make free throws to save our lives, and it's like sickening. It's like absolutely sickening, right? We were what, like 67% from the foul line, something crazy like that, which is insane to me. What were we? Let me pull that up. We were, we shot 72%. We missed 7 free throws, 18 and 25. Obviously, even if we made all of them, we still get blown out. But like, at least do the things you can do, control the things you can control. And missing in Kyrie, even more super. So we didn't miss on Kyrie. We were never going to get Kyrie. So originally, Sean Marks was going to trade Kyrie to us, and then Joe Tsai said absolutely not. So we were never going to get Kyrie. Joe Tsai literally told Sean Marks, I don't care if you trade him for a bag of peanuts, you're not trading him to the Lakers. Joe Tsai, who is the owner of the Nets, refused to trade Kyrie to the Lakers. Kyrie was never going to Lakers. It felt like he was going to. There was conversations that it was close. Sean Marks and Rob Pelinka here in Vegas hung out and were working out on a deal, and we're trying to get it done. And Joe Tsai said, absolutely not. And then Dallas came along, and guess what happened? He ended up going to Dallas. So, if the Lakers offer Reeves and 2 picks, I think the Nets would give us whatever we want as long as the money matches. Look, if you could get Dennis Schroeder, If you get Dennis Schroeder, Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, and Day'Ron Sharpe, you can have whatever you want, right? I mean, literally, your starting five could be Dennis Schroeder, Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. Like, that's fine, right? Like, literally, it'd be like the Nets with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And the Nets just beat the Warriors with, like, their backups, right? Like, let's see. Where was I? What does Rui even do? Because he is not better than Connect. And anything, he can't even go for 20 plus a night like Connect can. I mean, he's had his nights. Like, we can't forget what Rui's done. But Rui he's not a 3. Or he's a 4 that's having to play the 3 because LeBron can't play the 3. So he's out of position, which is why you gotta go get a legit 3. Rui is the weakest 6'8" player I've ever seen. The amount of, like, I will say though, what drives me crazy, the amount of missed layups Rui has is sickening. Make a move. I'm right there with you. Let's see. The front office vetoed Buddy Hield trade. I think Woj said it. They did a group decision with the whole front office, and they asked, does this trade make us a contender team? And majority said no. The veto. Why is Rui even starting? What does he give that Connect can't as a starter? Nothing. I agree. Well, Tyler, at this point, I'd rather have you take Rob's job at having the best ideas anyways. That's just my opinion. Look, I would love to be the Lakers GM, but you guys, well, first off, you guys would hate me because, like, if you're paying me a couple million, you best believe I'm, of course, Genie, you're right. Like, so you pay me a couple million, I'll be Genie's yes man. But on a serious note, right? Like, that's the problem. Like, even if, like, I wouldn't take it. Again, like, who would want that job? Like, what GM is like, oh man, I want to be the GM of the Lakers and listen to Jeannie Buss tell me what I can and cannot do every time I do something or every time I want to do something. So when trades are made, Rob Pelinka praise him, but when trades get vetoed, it's Jeannie's Buss fault. Well, yeah, because again, Jeannie Buss is vetoing it, right? Like, if it's a bad trade, sure. Like, if Jeannie Buss vetoed the Russell Westbrook trade, again, context matters, right? Like, if he's like doing crazy trades and Jeannie's like approving them, right? Like, it's one thing. But like, when he does a good sound trade that actually could impact this roster in a positive manner and Jeannie goes no, then yeah, like, again, like, they really thought D'Lo, Vando, and Malik Beasley moved them closer than Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, right? Like, again, context matters. So yes, and the context of the Russell Westbrook deal, yes. And the context of the Buddy Hield and Miles Turner deal, yes. Like, again, context matters. Look, I'm not against trading him at all. The only good win be a semi-talented team is against Phoenix, second game of the season. Yeah. Yep. It's not coaching or motivation. The issue has been the same 2 years. The roster is atrocious. Yes, agree. We need a contender squad. I am right there with you. I would love that. Let's see. I've never seen a basketball player like how I see Vince shoot the ball. Like, it's disrespectful about it. He's literally the worst. He's the worst player in the NBA. It's wild. Let's see. Rob and Jeannie Buss can go respectfully. Go fly respectfully. Let's see. This Thanksgiving, I'm thankful the Lakers don't play on Thanksgiving, so I don't have to see them lose again. Why do we have to play on Christmas just to lose by 40? I hope not. Hopefully we'll win that game. I would love to get Caruso. I don't see the Thunder trading Caruso. Westbrook over DeRozan was the kicker. Yeah, that was not good. I appreciate you, Elijah. Let's see. Sorry, trying to find something to me. I see your comment, but Tyler in shambles. What is there to be in shambles about? The team's bad. Like, that's the reality. There's nothing to be in shambles about. The team sucks. Rui sucks, bro. Again, I don't think Rui sucks. I just think he's out of position, right? Like, again, like, it's not a coincidence that every time LeBron doesn't play, Rui gives you like 25. Like, Rui literally had a career night. He had like, what, 30, what is it, 34 or something like that last season when LeBron missed the game. Like, he's out of position, right? Like, if you put anybody out of position, you make, AD play the 2 guard, right? He has to take 7 threes a game. We're all going to be like, AD's trash, right? Like, it's just, but the problem is we don't have a choice, which is why I keep saying start connect. Previously, last season, I got it, right? Like, Jared Vanderbilt was hurt. Cam Reddish ended up getting hurt. You didn't have connect. Taurean Prince, you couldn't play him more than like 10 minutes or the Lakers were awful, right? Like, you were in this spot where it was like Rui's kind of your only option, right? But now you have Dalton Connect. And it's like, JJ, like, come on, man. Like, I like JJ. I'm a big JJ guy. I mean, I was on the JJ train before he was even a thought, right? Like when he interviewed with the Charlotte Hornets. But the reality is reality. Like, come on, dude. You got to get – it's clear. Connect is just – he's the better natural 3, right? You need to get him in there, right? Like, he's just – and then that way Rui can play more forward. Because literally, you could take LeBron and Reeves out at the, 7-minute mark or whatever like he usually does, and then bring in D'Lo and Rui. And then now Rui can be a focal point at the 4 and be properly slotted and would probably be more impactful, right? And then if he has a game where he's cooking, you let him cook, right? If he has a game where he's struggling, then, he's on the bench. You don't have to worry about it. Since Lakers are cooked, all I have is the Dodgers, who thankfully have an owner and GM that cares about winning and upgrades the team even more. Shout out Friedman. Yeah. Yep. I'm tired of this team. I've seen enough. Call me crazy. I would trade Connect, Reeves, D'Lo, and Rui for Giannis. Rob, please call the Bucks. If only, except for the Giannis. They already said the only way that they would trade. I would trade whatever you want for Giannis. Literally, you can have everybody. I mean, I'd even trade LeBron for Giannis. You could have whatever you want. But the reality is, like, teams have to want to do it, and they already said they're not trading. They're not going to trade Giannis unless he requests a trade, and he has to also want to go to the Lakers. That's the other thing too. Does he want to go to the Lakers? Supposedly, he wants to go to the Nets. Master, my goodness, it's what they say at the beginning of the season. You can't finish layups. So yeah, it's been a disaster. Despite changing the coach, you can't expect differences when you've got the same players who can't defend the 3-point line, help rebound, because AD's responsibility is both offense and defense. Yes, it's rough. Absolutely rough. This might be the most ironic. I'm not even going to pull it up, but I think I just saw the most ironic comment I've ever seen in my life. They're not giving up Jalen Williams. For Anthony Davis, they would. They would have to. You'd have to give up somebody like that. Right? Even if they didn't want to, they'd have to. It'd either have to be Chet, SGA, or Jalen Williams, right? Because they have to make money work and stuff. So you get Jalen Williams, right? Like I said, you get 2 or 3 guys, you're in good shape. Let's see. Yeah, they literally do anything. Levine and Dorian Finney-Smith would fundamentally change Lakers title odds. I agree. Same script, different year. I'm right there with you. All right, I'm gonna power through a couple more. Do one more sheet, and then I'm going to get it out of here so I can go make videos for you guys for Manana. Just for fun, that stands. Do you think the Lakers would be better than OKC and the Celtics if we replaced D'Lo, Gabe, and Rui for Zach LaVine, Derek White, and Grant Williams? OKC, Lakers are a bad matchup for OKC now. I actually think we'd actually beat OKC in a 7-game series. Does that necessarily make us better than them? No. Matchups are an important thing, and you see it every playoffs. Literally every playoffs, you see matchups are very important. If we had LaVine, Derek White, and Grant Williams, well, problem is that they would have you taking Derek White off of the Celtics. So yeah, but I think a better thing would be like Zach LaVine, Alex Caruso, and Grant Williams, right? Would that make us, because Derek White is on the Celtics, right? So you're kind of like handicapping them. So like, let's leave the Celtics the same. Say you got Zach LaVine, Alex Caruso, and then Grant Williams. Would the Lakers be good enough? Would be better than the Celtics? Yeah, because now you're assuming you do the proper 5, but I would go, Caruso, LaVine, probably Vando if he's healthy. Like, let's assume everyone else is the same, and you're just replacing those 2 guys. Vando if healthy, LeBron and AD. Now you have defense, athleticism. You have everything you need in that regard. And then the only problem, your one weak link is Jared Vanderbilt at that point. But then you'd have like Austin Reeves. You'd have Dalton Connect off the bench. You'd have Christian Wood. Yeah, I think it'd be close. I think it'd be close because in a matchup against the Celtics, the Lakers would have the 2 best players every night in LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And then you start going down the pecking list, right? So it's like Zach LaVine versus Drew Holiday. Zach LaVine is the better player. So Zach LaVine, so you'd have the 3rd best player. And then Alex Caruso versus Derek White. I think you could argue that's a wash, right? And then, your 5th best player would be Porzingis versus, Jared Vanderbilt. I think Porzingis wins that. So, yeah, I think it depends. But, all right. And then, let's see. Set us back 5 years. You're not wrong. Really did. Really did. Who wants our trash bins? It's not about the players. Like, teams wouldn't be looking at it for, like, necessarily the players. Like, teams would be looking at it for various other reasons. You got to remember, trades happen for more than just, like, a lot of people just think names, right? Oh, name on the back of the jersey. Why would anyone want Gabe Vincent for Zach LaVine, right? Like, it's like, no, but you need to look at all the context, right? Like, you have a team like Chicago, they want to get off of LaVine and his salary, right? Like, there's all kinds of reasons, right? Some teams just want to tank. Some teams want to, hit the reset button. They want expiring contracts. They want assets. They want to stack assets, right? Like, some teams just, they'd rather pay a guy $11 million than pay a guy $33 million, right? Like, there's context, right? So teams are going to be looking at D'Lo not for the player, but because he's an $18.6 million expiring contract. Teams aren't going to be looking at Gabe Vincent. They're going to be looking at like, oh, we can get D'Lo and Gabe Vincent. D'Lo falls off the books, and then next season Gabe Vincent's an expiring contract that we could trade, or just let him fall off the books too, rather than pay, a Jeremy Grant $35 million for the next 3 years, right? Like, again, there's multiple reasons why teams make trades. Let's see. Let's see. Move off both first. I am all for moving off both, and they should move off of both first. But it depends on what you're getting, right? Like, you can't move off both first for nothing, right? Like, you can't move off both first for Cam Johnson, right? Like, you have to move off both first for multiple things. Season's not already over. I mean, Lakers are still tied for 4th or whatever, 3. We still live on the Westbrook trade ripple effects. Not wrong. Let's see. Zach, Dalton, Ron, Vando, AD. I am with it. Let's see. There's no way. Who said Lakers are fine? Oh, I must be you're responding to somebody else. I was like, wait, what? Sorry, that comment threw me off a second. Like, the Lakers are most certainly not fine. Let's see. It's no different than they are now. So LeBron James and Anthony Davis aren't different than Nikola Vucevic and Kobe White. Like, stop. That's a real comment, huh? You really thought that? You really thought that, and then decided to post that, huh? That was a good idea. Like sometimes you need to revise your comments. Read it, think it through. Let's see. Levine, Dorian Finney-Smith, Kessler. That's my dream. That would be ideal in my opinion. Lakers could pull something like that off. That would be chef kiss. Absolute chef kiss. Let's do like 3 more here. Or Levine, Torrey Craig, Dorian Finney-Smith, Dennis, Day'Ron Sharpe. I don't know if the Lakers could do all of that, because you're talking Day'Ron's like $4 million. Dennis Schroeder is, say, 15, because you got to send out more, so you got 15. Dorian Finney-Smith, say 50, so it's 30. Talking 40, talking like 7. Yeah, I don't think the Lakers do that. You're talking like you need to send out like 80 million. I mean, technically they could if you trade Reeves, because you could do like D'Lo and Rui get you halfway there. It's 35 million. Add in Vando, let's say Gabe Vincent, that gets you 46 million. And then add in Jared Vanderbilt, there's 56 million. Add in Austin Reeves, that gets you 56, 68 million. Then you'd have to do Max Christie, that get you to, what did I say, 68 million, talk 72 million, right? Like you'd need another like, it'd be tough. I mean, again, technically you could get there, but you'd also have to fill out a roster. That's where the problem lies, filling out a roster. Speaking of Andrew coming out $2 super chat. So perfect. This will be my last comment, and then unless obviously if another super chat comes, then I'll answer it. But this will be my last comment, and then I'm gonna skate on out of here so I can go make some videos. If they don't get Levine, season over, agreed. I want to say yes because I really like Levine, but if I remove my Levine bias for a moment, it depends on what they do, right? Like like right now, Andrew, and I'll ask you this too, right? If you could do right now, Dennis Schroeder, Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, and Day'Ron Sharpe or Zach LaVine, what would you do? I would rather do the Nets trade. And I'm a huge LaVine guy, but I just think like if you can pull off the Nets trade, you solve everything, right? Like I like LaVine from like a singular trade standpoint, but like if the Lakers could get, like I said, a huge, basically solve all your needs, get point of attack, guard, 3 and D wings, and a backup center, then I think that's better than LaVine, right? Like, so again, I just think it depends on like I don't think it's Zach LaVine or bust. Unless like you're only looking at a singular move, right? Like if it's Zach LaVine or like Cam Johnson, Zach LaVine, or like even if it's Zach LaVine or like Cam Johnson and Dennis Schroeder, I'd rather have Zach LaVine, right? Like I just think his ceiling raises so high. So I think it depends on what the actual moves are, right? Like or if it's like a multiple trade, right? Like so if it's like I don't know, like Walker Kessler, Cam Johnson, Bruce Brown, and assuming he's healthy and stuff, just names come to my head, right? And then like a Dorian Finney-Smith, right? Like again, I think that would be better than just a Zach LaVine trade. I'd take LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith over those 4 easy. I don't. If you could like if you got LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith, and like a Day'Ron Sharpe or like a Walker Kessler, then yes, right? Like let's not even add Day'Ron Sharpe. Let's say Kessler. Like my ideal trade, like the best trade that I think the Lakers can make, is Zach LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Walker Kessler. That I think is the best trade that the Lakers can make because Zach LaVine is the highest ceiling raiser. You add in 3-and-D Wayne and Dorian Finney-Smith, and then you get a legit backup center. Yes, I think that would be the best trade. But you were talking about just like if we don't get Zach LaVine, is the season over? I'm saying like based on what your comment reads is it Zach LaVine or bust essentially, right? If we don't get Zach LaVine, is the season over? No, because if you got the Nets trade, like the full Nets trade, I think that is better than just Zach LaVine. But now, if you want to get into Zach LaVine, Dorian Finney-Smith, like then yes, I think that Zach LaVine plus is better than anything else. But I'm talking about Zach LaVine because again, the way your comment reads is if they don't get Zach LaVine, is the season over? Agreed, right? No, because if they could solve all your other needs, then no, I think the Lakers still win it, right? So it just depends on what if you mean like Zach LaVine plus other guys, then yes, I'd rather do Zach LaVine plus other guys. So, but anyway, I'm going to skate on out of here. Joseph, I see your comment that says, Tyler, love your vids, bro. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm going to skate on out of here so I can go make some videos, record some videos so I'm not up too late. We got another game tomorrow, so that should be fun. But anyways, I appreciate you guys. Seriously, thank you all so much for hanging out with me. Take a quick second, hit that like button if you haven't yet. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Also, real quick, let me put this in here one more time because one, I like never promote my channels, and I should promote my channels. But that's that's As It Stands Sports. That's my sports channel where I talk non-Laker stuff. So if you want to hear me talk non-Laker teams, go subscribe to that. That would be awesome. I'd appreciate it. But outside of that, again, all the other channels are on the main page. As It Stands Lakers, AS, The Lakers Show, all that. I'd appreciate you guys going and doing that. But subscribe here too. Hit that like button. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, right? We got Spurs. So.